All right, YouTube, it is Mr. Mean coming at you this fine Thursday evening. Let's angle this down a little bit. You don't need to see all that. We're just going to do a little sit and chat, talk about things, see what's going on. All right, the stream is working. I can hear it. Life is good. All righty. I'm going to see if I can get some stuff up here. I don't know why this is on there. So we're actually hanging out in the Mr. Mean Speaks Discord, and I'm recording that. So hopefully everybody can see me and say hi. I hope everyone is doing well. Let me see if I can pull up my chat. Let's see. I want to go to my chat. I can pause recording. Let's see here. I don't remember where it puts the chat. Would love you guys to jump into the Discord if you're one of the meanies, or even if you're new. I'll put a link to Discord to the channel. Let's go here, create an invite. We'll edit invite link. We'll say it expires and create a new link. Copy. All right, and we will put that down in the show notes. So bear with me. I'm going to go to YouTube. I'm going to go to my channel. I'm going to go here. There we are. I can see me. And we're going to... There's a link to my Discord. Somebody's already... Oh, that might have been me that liked it. Because I'm a noob. I hope that is everything. Let's see, chat here. Pop out chat. There we go. We'll put this over here. And we will do it like that. And we'll adjust it as need be. The Dave. Hello, Dave. You can actually join in the House of Mean, and we can video chat there. And you can let me know how the recording is looking. I'm going to minimize. I'm going to close out. I don't need that. If you're feeling froggy, and if you're new or you're not on my Discord, feel free to hit that link there in the chat. It should be at the top of the chat. I know the chat does scroll on by pretty fast, but I believe you guys can scroll up to the top and you can see a what's a what. A what a what. Can you hear me, Dave? Oh, you've got the COVID. That's right. I assume you're hearing me okay. I know there's about a 15-second delay. So I just wanted to Just, wasn't doing anything. The wife's watching one of her TV shows. The kid's playing with his balloon. Yesterday was my son's 7-year-old birthday. So pretty happy about that. I think I'm going to hit up. I'm coming in great. Well, that's awesome. Let's see here. Let's minimize that. Let's go back to the World Wide Web skis. We'll go here. We'll do our email. We'll go to YouTube and we'll click on that. And we'll get this link. Copy. And we'll go to Facebooks. And oh, somebody's messaging me. I apologize, guys. I don't do a whole lot on Facebook. It's not my it's not my cup of tea. Let's leave it at that. My son went to the play. They have this like Superior Funland, it's called. Let's see. So let's see here. Facebook. Face of the books. It takes a moment to get all this stuff square. I'm just fixing this post, and I'm going to cut and paste it, and I'm going to post it in a few places. Maybe we can get some people to come and chat with us. That would be nice, wouldn't it? Wouldn't it be cozy? We can all sit around and talk about our feelings. Right? Wouldn't that be nice? I'm just posting it, so I apologize for the administrative work, but I know some people might have their Thursday night games and all that fun stuff. But you know what? We'll post it. We'll get it out there in the wild. People can see. I got really good comments and everything on my Wasteland Saga by Mickey. Really happy with that video. It came out really well. In fact, what I need to do is I need to get Mickey on to talk about his game. I think that would be super cool. I owe the Red Room a review for their Wretched series. They sent me PDFs of all their Wretched games. Now, these are more adult friendly. I don't, unless your kid's really super cool, or mature. I don't think they're games for kids, but, everybody's different. I'm just looking at different things here. We'll get to talking about some stuff here as soon as I get this administrative stuff done. You have to, you got to do your work here, What's old is new. I got my confirmation that my rewards are about to ship, so I'm super excited about that. RPG lovers, that's a great place to post. And then I got to go over to MeWe because there's a lot of people that are not on Facebook that are on MeWe and vice versa. So I have to post this in like multiple places. It's a lot of work, guys. It's a lot of work. So let's go to MeWe now, and we'll post it in MeWe. So let's go to groups. Well, let's go home first. Tell your friends what's happening. You know, if you guys haven't checked out MeWe, it's an alternative to Facebook, no ads. I'm a big fan. I kind of was hoping it would pick up more traction than it has, but it's pretty cool. And of course, if people don't make this, they can watch it, you know, on YouTube later tonight. It'll post. The nice thing about when you go live on YouTube is it automatically uploads and posts your video as soon as you hang up. It's because it's processing it in the background as you're recording. So there's little to no wait time, which is really nice. So I'm just posting to MeWe. Sorry, this is not the fun part, but I if there's a way to do this beforehand, I guess maybe you can set up a scheduled broadcast. Yeah, we'll send it all to those Dungeons and Dragons nerds. I'm one of them, even though I don't play D. Well, I shouldn't say I don't. I do play D&D. I will play D&D depending on the GM. Like if my buddy Brian runs a D&D game, I will play. It's not my game of choice. There's a lot of things about it I like. There's just a lot of things about it I dislike. And I honestly, after playing Pathfinder 2nd Edition, DCC, which is Dungeon Crawl Classic for those that don't know, and or Castles and Crusades, I'm really spoiled. I don't D&D holds no joy for me. Although I will say, you know, they've put out a lot of good books and stuff like that, and I do enjoy some of their books. But, you know, I also know that WotC and their ilk have not made any friends lately, shall we say. So, you know, that is what it is. So I think we got that going. I don't see. If you're in the chat there, pop in and say hi. I'm going to put this up. 4 people are watching. That's awesome. I mean, I think I might be one of them. If you're on Mr. Mean Speaks on my Discord, you can pop in there and say hi. Post a link in mine as well. Boop. I'm hoping everybody can hear me. I'm gonna have to minimize that, and I'm gonna have to put it on my phone so I can kind of keep an eye on what's going on. What else is going on? Oops, dropping my phone. There's the messages. I'll put my phone up here. Got my phone charging a little bit, so there we go. Now I can see what's going on. So I can close that, actually. I don't need that open. I don't need this open. What's going on in the world of tabletop RPG? Well, Coco B is in the house, his house. I'm playing like it's 1988. Palladium Fantasy, nice. Sounds like you're going to be playing that tonight, so you're not going to be able to hang out in the chat. That's okay, Coco. I appreciate you popping in and saying hi. Love me some Palladium Fantasy 2nd Edition. Live, laugh, lurk. You're welcome to lurk, Coco B. I appreciate it. I'll be driving, so I have to lurk. So it appears that Mr. Jeff on the Discord got the new 10th edition of Warhammer. His book looks different from mine, but I think if I go to the collection, I think it's over here. You know, when you have so many books, you don't know what they are. There it is. No, Oh, shoot, it's not where I thought it was. Oh, Leviathan. There it is. I think this is... Ugh. It's a hefty tome, kids. I don't know if Jeff's watching, but this is the one I have, which I think this is the special edition that was in the box set for the pre-release for 10th edition. The local game store, Phoenix Games, down in Minneapolis, the guy said a guy came in and bought like two copies of the game, of the box set, and he said, I don't need 2 rule books. So he sold the rule book back to the store, and I just happened to be there. And I was like, I saw the retail version, which I think is the one you have, and it was sitting on the shelf, and it was like $79. And I was like, oof, duh. I was like, I can't afford that, not for a game that I know I'm pretty much not going to play. So, but he's like, well, he goes, he told me that story that I just told you guys, and he said, I'll let it go for $50. I was like, sold. And so I bought it. I really wanted it for the dwarfs. I have a bunch of dwarf. I bought, I think, 10 Hearthkin Warriors that came in one of the big dwarf box sets. I don't even remember. I don't know. I'm not a huge Warhammer 40K fan in the aspect of the game. I like the lore. I like Imperium Maledictum, the role-playing game. So I do like that. Let's see. So yeah, I just wanted to give a shout out to Jeff because he got his 10th edition rulebook, which I think is super cool. I'll go back to the chat. Let's see. It says you can choose YouTube. Oh, this is not good. No, we don't want to do that. Yeah, I guess I can't get rid of that, or can I? Oh, I can. Yay, I made myself big. Ooh, I'm large and in charge, bitches. But now I got to find my chat. My chat window went away. Oh, that's because it's already big, you dummy. I'm not very smart sometimes, guys. I know, shocker. But yeah, Mr. Mean is not very bright sometimes. Fajuk was here. Woohoo! Solo RPG guy popping in for a bit. Hey, Solo. For those that don't know, that is Mr. Mike Wilster, a.k.a. Nubby, who also has a YouTube channel. And if you're subscribed to Mr. Mean and you like my reviews and the style in which I do them, you should go subscribe to Solo RPG Guy because his reviews are very similar to mine. He's a lot cooler though. He has a top-down camera and shows off his nubby finger and all that stuff. But yeah, he does cool videos, and he does some pretty esoteric and weird stuff like Mr. Mean. So it's pretty cool. Man, you got some games going on, Coco B. Do I miss Texas? Hell no. The most miserable 2 years of my life. For those that don't know, Hurricane Harvey pretty much took our house. Oh, I'm sorry, Donald. I have a friend who plays solo RPGs, and I think that's the name of his YouTube channel, Solo RPG. So I do apologize. Donald is just a subscriber, but hey, Donald's just as cool, and if he has a channel, go watch it. What was I saying? I lost go. Oh, Fajuk is asking if I miss Texas. No, I don't. Hurricane Harvey took our house down there. It was miserable. We hated it, and I don't ever want to go back ever again. Am I still streaming, or did it pause? Oh, I paused. Let me mute mine. Can I catch up? I don't know if I can catch up. There we go. All the way to the end. All right, there we go. I just like to have it playing on my phone or my. Oh, you Solo RPG Guy, you have a channel. Well, dude, post a link. I believe you're on my Discord. Are you not? If you are, please post there in the Let's Talk About RPGs and Snail Mail Games. Yes. and he lived in Texas. So guys, I have a bad habit of repeating the chat, and what confounds me is, this is silly, I know you guys can all see the chat. I know you can read it. So if it's annoying that I reread, or should I just respond? I feel that if you're not reading the chat, though, you wouldn't necessarily know the context. So that my small brain says that I have to repeat it so that you have the context. If that is incorrect, let me know. If you guys are okay and just want to view the channel. I'm just trying to look and see what I can see here. 6 people watching. Right on. That's pretty cool. 3 likes already. 4 if you count mine. Okay, so as I'm doing it again, the Dave says reading what I'm explaining, responding to helps, he thinks. And I kind of agree. I think you don't know necessarily what I'm talking about if I'm just, am I just babbling? You can't see it up there too well. I'm going to see if I can shift the light. And I'm going to turn this off for a second. Yeah, you can't really see it, but you can't even see my finger. There we go. Let me get it right there. So right up there, you can see something glowing. That was my Christmas present from my wife. I keep forgetting that I have a wireless mic, so I can just get up and walk around. So the candle's going dim, but this is it's just made out of balsa wood or whatever, plywood. But it was on Etsy. My wife and I are both big fans of Etsy. I find a lot of cool shit on Etsy, and so she got me this because she didn't know what to get me, and I don't really... I'm not a big Christmas guy. I don't know if anybody else is like that, but here you can see it. And it basically just has a top, and there's a little tiki light in there. What do they call those things? Tea lights? Not sufficient space to continue recording. You're on crack. And then my mouse disappeared. I don't know what's going on here. It says I'm still recording, so I'm going to just assume that we're okay. I lost my mouse, so that's weird. Oh, did my screen go black? Nope, we're still recording. Can you guys hear me okay? It's mean in the dark. Etsy is great. Yeah. Snail mail, I don't know if you made it onto my Discord and if I've marked you as a publisher or not. But if you are and I have not, please send me a PM and I will get you all set up so that you can post in the publisher section. If I'm vaguely thinking that you said your game is not at press yet. So one of the requirements for the channel is that you are published, like either on DriveThruRPG or other Lulu Press or something like that. So, but I think we had this conversation last time you were live. So anyway, super impressed that my Wasteland Saga video got a ton of reviews. That's what it was. Okay, thanks, Snail Mail. Remind me, when your game does go live and we can get it off a drive-through, let us know, because feel free to advertise on the publisher announcements. Until then, feel free to lurk. We like to support the indie game designers, and feel free to send me a copy. Beg, hint, plead, plead, beg, beg, nudge, nudge, wink, wink. Be more than happy to review it on the channel. I think we're over 1,300 subscribers now, so thank you. The Wheeling Dragon, hey! Man, Discord, why is... Let's see, did I lose my keyboard? I think I lost... Maybe I have too much stuff open. I can't have too much open. This is a Mac Mini. This is an M2 Mac Mini. I got plenty of RAM. I don't know what you're talking about. And I can see that I'm still live, so I'm not going to sweat it. It's just the bouncing icon over here is catching my eye. So, like I was saying, I was super happy to see my Wasteland Sagas review did really well. Mickey Barsfield is the creator and designer of that game, and a pretty much labor of love. He's put out a couple of games. Pirate I can't remember the pirate game. I have a copy of it. I just can't find it. I really need to organize all of this back here. And I was thinking probably the best way to organize it is going to be alphabetical, because trying to put it by genre or by game type, it's just not going to work unless I make the shelves flow. And on top of that, it's going to be a monumental task. That's a lot of games. So you can see it's 3 shelves high, and God, I don't know how many shelves. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, 4 shelves, 3 high. So 12 racks of books, and there's on average, oh, I don't even know. I'd have to do the math, and math hurts. It's going great, Wheel and Dragon. I hope you're doing good. Glad to have you in the chats. You guys can pop into the House of Mean if you're on the Discord, and I should be able to get you up here on the screen and we can chat. You don't have to turn your camera on. And I believe we can just have a conversation. But you feel free. You don't have to. It's just something new. I'm trying to see if the audio works as well. But it sounds like everybody can hear me. And of course, Discord is using my camera. So OBS is not. So I don't know why OBS is being weird, but everything looks like it's working fine. It looks like I'm recording everything. Yep. So what else is going on? I'm wrapping up. Okay, he might pop in. Solo RPG guy, if you go scroll all the way up to the top of the chat, I put a link up there. And it has a big yellow banner that says Mr. Mean Speaks. Jan. Cool. I bought, those that don't know, Infinity is a miniatures game. It is a continuous activation miniature game. It's an I go, you go. So you get your turn, but your opponent gets to respond to things that you do, what they call an ARO, an active reaction order. And it's a really fun game. It's a high-tech, has a role-playing game called Infinity, the RPG by Modiphius. It's a 2D20 game. It's one of my favorite RPGs. I just can't get anybody to play it, which is sad because it's a really good RPG. It is a lot coming at you really fast, and it's kind of, out of all of Modiphius's 2D20 games, I would say this one is the crunchiest, just because it's a very high-tech, futuristic game with tags, which tags are basically powered armor. Think like almost a little bit smaller than Robotech. Jan says, this is not my real name. Well, then what is your real name? I'm assuming it's Nico Nice Guy or something like that. God, I got to look up in the... I can't use my mouse. I don't know, my mouse went stupid, so I have no mouse. I don't know how I'm going to stop the recording. I'll use shortcuts on the keyboard. I can always do that. But yeah, every Sunday, a couple of guys, about 4 or 5 of them, have been meeting at the local game store to play Infinity. And so I sold one of the guys my Nomads. He put them together, and he did a great job, way better than I could have done. And then I used that money to order the combined, which are like basically the evil aliens, which the miniatures are really nice. I'm very happy with them, and I just have to clean them up. Bryce. Okay, Luke, Bryce, I won't tell anybody, I promise. Of course, it is on YouTube. I can't really control who watches it, but I'll try. Bryce is not here, guys. Luke's friend Bryce is not here. He's not watching this video when he should be working. He's not doing that, so he's not here. Just move along. Nothing to see here. Keep going. Anyway, Infinity is a fantastic miniatures game. It's a D20 roll low, except when you're making an armor save, and then you want to roll high. So it's a really fun game. Miniatures are absolutely beautiful. They're mostly metal, but they are moving to CO cast, which is a type of plastic. I don't know if they're going to go all CO cast, but they may. But it's a really cool game. If you haven't checked it out and you have any inkling of playing a miniatures game, I would really recommend it. I think it's a really good one. Yeah, you can go ahead and pop in Wheeling Dragon. We'll see if it works. Worst case scenario is you log back out and you just lurk in the chat like you've been doing. I have not seen the new Anathematic. Feel free to post a link if you can, or when you join the channel, we do have a specific channel just for RPGs, just for miniature games. It's called The Art is the Mini, and that's where we post everything about miniature related games. So I like Necromunda. I don't play it. I like Warcry. I don't play it. I like Warhammer Fantasy. There's the Wheeling Dragon. All right. Let me turn up my... I can hear you. Can you hear us? We can hear you.
Hello?
Hello.
Hang on. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yes, hear you fine. Can those people watching via YouTube, can you hear her? Or do you...
One second. Okay, is that better?
Yep, that's fine. You're coming in loud and clear. I don't know if the people on YouTube can hear. I'm hoping somebody will comment here in a second.
Hello, how's it going?
It's going. This is not the Bryce you're looking for. Move along. Yep, that is exactly it, Solo. What is the 2D20 system? Fajuk, I'm going to be a typical YouTuber and point you right back to my YouTube channel because I have a video explaining what 2D20 is. She's coming in very quiet. Dave, she should be a little bit louder now. She just changed her. I can turn up... my mouse isn't working, so I might...
Mr. Mean.
Hey, there's Brian. Can you guys hear Brian? Or what I can do... Hello? Hello? Hello?
Nope.
There you go. I hear you.
Okay, how's that?
I can hear you just fine. I'm going to put you like that, so maybe that'll make a difference. This is just kind of a rough test. So let me know if you guys can hear her okay or hear Mr. Brian.
Yeah, I can hear everyone.
All right,
You guys
cool.
hear me okay?
Yep, we hear you.
Yep. Okay.
Yeah, we hear you. Hey, Brian, you're nice and loud, too.
I try.
It's that commanding voice.
I try.
That's me. Vajuk says he's working on my videos. What was that, Wheeling?
Having some mic issues, so I had to switch to my headset.
Ah, no worries.
Awesome.
There you go. That'll turn it up a little bit. There we go. So, what else? So my Dragonbane game is coming to a close. They have to find... We're playing Saturday night, this Saturday. Okay, thanks, Dave. We're playing this...
Oh, I was saying that you had to...
Complete sentences.
For some reason, I'm getting lag.
Well, yeah, that I can't help you with. That might be on your internet. Maybe close the stream. Because you've got Discord open. I don't know what kind of computer you have or anything like that. Shouldn't. But I never know. Now remember if you're listening to you, I'm sorry, Wheeling. What you'll have to do is turn your audio or mute your YouTube channel.
Yeah, you can't tune into the radio and be on the radio at the same time.
Yeah, that you're getting a lag. So yeah.
Welcome to the Mean Squad FM.
That's right. She got it. She's going to do that.
So you're coming to the end of your Dragonbane campaign, and I was just seeing that, like, just in time for the bestiary and the hardback rule set to come out. You're done with it. You don't need that shit.
Well, I already have the bestiary. I pre-ordered it.
Oh well, you've got the PDF.
Yeah,
right?
I got the PDF, and
You're just waiting for the hard copies. Are supposedly supposed to drop this month, but who knows?
I wasn't going to get the hard copy because there's nothing new in it. If you pre-ordered the Kickstarter, you have everything that's in the hardback. Now, that being said,
you mean the rules, not the bestiary. The bestiary's new monsters.
Right,
I thought.
Absolutely correct. The core rule book is
just the starter set in a hardback.
Right, and there may be a different adventure, but I have not confirmed that yet. I don't know that for sure. So it may be a different intro adventure in the hardback. But I was like, I have the box set. I don't really need 2 copies of the set.
Yeah, I kind of, especially with money, when you got to really count the dollars, right, which we all do.
Right.
It's like, well, I like the idea of the hardback, but I've got the box set, so.
Exactly. And I got the box set.
If it were to come out again, if I were to be starting now, I might lean into the hardback because I don't really need a starter set.
Right, exactly. That would be the same thing. And I didn't care about the cardboard pogs, the monster. They're nice, and I'm using them, but I have skinny minis, and I use most of those. So everybody's using those. And but yeah, we're everybody. So the consensus with Dragonbane, it's weird because now that I've actually played it for the last couple of since before Christmas we started playing. Now we only play bi-weekly, so on average we play twice a month, and we skipped pretty much all of December just because of holidays and stuff. So we didn't play at all in December, and then we just had our first session in January 2 weeks ago, and then this Saturday is I think our 5th or 6th session. I will say it's a great system. If you're new to RPGs or you want to get like your loved ones or your kids into it, I think it's a good starter RPG. I think it's way better than D&D for that. I know D&D is super easy and everybody gets it because it's such in the media, but I think Dragonbane plays better than D&D for an intro game. The hard part for a seasoned GM is trying to wrap your head around, at least it is for me, maybe not for others, is wrapping your head around monsters don't roll to hit. They just hit. If it's a full-fledged monster, it automatically hits. It's just a matter of how bad is it going to hit you. So
did they get a chance to dodge? I don't recall.
Monsters?
No, PCs.
Yeah.
Is it an auto hit unless they make a dodge?
Yes.
Or if they can make a dodge?
Yes.
So you know what? I mean, I'm an old school, right? Like I've been doing this since like the late 70s, right? But,
yeah.
And I definitely lean into like strong DM kind of games. Like I'm not a co-GM type of, I am what I am, right? Like, but I could go either way. I like rolling the dice. I like rolling them in secret. I like rolling them in front of people. Depends on my player set, right? Like what are their expectations set? But when I'm in rolling the dice mode, which I almost always am now, with groups who we roll online. DM's not going to be an exception. Hey, the rules of this game are the fucking monster hits you unless you get out of the way. You make the roll. Don't put it on me, man. Yeah. I told you this is a dangerous game. Don't blame the DM. I'm your friend here. It says the monsters hit unless you can do something.
It's not me versus you. It's the monsters versus you.
Yeah.
I'm just facilitating. I'm Switzerland.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think.
Yeah, exactly. I'm here for the story, man.
Yeah, I'm here to see what happens. I will say it takes a little getting used to it, but it does play very well. But like Brian said, it's a very lethal game. Player death. We had almost a TPK our first session. It was crazy.
I was listening into one of your games recently where you were GMing, and I gotta say, like, for a guy who's like, I'm not your adversary, and you do a great job at it, you nonetheless cackle when the monsters roll well.
Well,
you realize that? I mean,
they're my character, right?
That's where Picard is looking at you going, you have a tail, Mr. Bean. You say you don't, but when you cackle, you give away the joy that you have in inflicting pain on my character.
Yes, I am that guy. I am nicknamed Mr. Mean by you, I might point out. many, like almost 20 years ago, if not 20 years ago.
Truth in advertising.
That's right, man. You know what you're getting up front. I will say though, I really like the game, but for my group, and I have 5 players. Three of them have never really played a tabletop RPG. They've only played Magic. It's a group of Magic friends, and it's a funny story. I had my furnace worked on, and the guy came down. I just moved into the house.
Friendship is the magic, by the way.
That's true. Okay, Care Bear. And I had all my game books and stuff still in boxes. These shelves were not built yet, and I'd literally only been in the house I think a week. And we had a little bit of a cold snap here, and so we found out that our furnace wasn't working, and so we were like, "Holy shit!" And so the guy comes out. His name's TJ. Shout out to Carlson Duluth. They are amazing. If you're in the area and you need heating and cooling, they're the guys to call. Awesome customer service. But anyway, I see him eyeballing all my RPGs, right? He's like looking at, and it wasn't a look of like, oh, this guy's a freak. What's he into? It was more like, oh, that's cool. Ooh, that's cool. And then he saw the Borderlands board game that I had backed on Kickstarter, which recently came out right before Christmas. And he was like, oh, you a Borderlands fan? I said, I am the Borderlands fan. I have the role-playing game. I have the tabletop board game. And I have every computer game they've made for it. And he was like, oh, wow. And then we started talking and found out he was a gamer. And I was like, well, I just moved here. I'm looking for a group. If you've got some friends and you need a GM, let me know. I gave him, of course, he had my phone number and everything. Sure enough, like the next day, he sends me a text like, hey, were you serious about that gaming thing? And I was like, yeah, I got a basement. I'm ready to go. We started gaming a week later. So it worked out really well. So long story short, I wanted to get Dragonbane to the table to shake it out and see. I've played it online through Foundry, and it was cool, but I didn't get a good taste of it. I didn't get the mechanics. And so after running it now for several sessions,
you got a little amuse bouche. You needed a full thing. You needed a full meal.
When I roll my dice, I put my pinky up. Because I'm cool.
You could tell who's been watching Robert Irvine too much.
Yeah, exactly. But I will say, so the players, so after every session, I always do a critiquing. What did you like? What did you dislike? What can I do better? That kind of thing. And they were, they're having fun. They're relatively new to it, and they were like, it took a little coaxing, but I could tell they were annoyed with something. And I Brian, you've been GMing as long as I have. You always want to please your audience, and so I was like,
I want to bend them to my will, but second, I want to please my audience.
Exactly, but we don't tell them the first part, Brian. The first rule of Fight Club is we don't talk about Fight Club.
You just did.
Well, you started. No, but anyway, they were TJ kind of said, well, yeah, no offense, it's a good game and I like it and I'm having fun, but it's not crunchy enough. And I was like, that's the first time I've ever heard anybody say we want a harder game.
They're Magic players, right?
They're Magic players. They're all Magic players.
I mean, not that Magic is uber crunchy, but there's thinking from my Magic days, which go back to when the stuff first came out, right? Bunches of there's lots of different interplay and switches. I could see a group of Magic players moving to role playing. I like Dragonbane, but I would agree. I could see it being like, yeah, okay, you've got the basics. You're looking for a little more to tap here.
And that's exactly it.
More to select.
They were having fun with it.
Your deck equivalent.
Yeah, they were having fun with it. They like it. They want to finish the story. So the consensus was after this, and them trying not to hurt my feelings. Little do they know I don't own any. But they finally got it off their chest, and they all pretty much agreed that they wanted to try something different. And I was like, well.
Something crunchy or something with
they,
a little
they
bit
want
more...
to stay with fantasy, and so I've been on a GURPS kick lately, right? Nostalgia.
Oh, there you go.
And I was like, well, you want crunchy? I can give you crunchy. And they were like, we're thinking Pathfinder 2nd Edition. And I'm like, okay, I can do that with my eyes closed.
That's another decent crunch. I mean, I like 5e, but I've said I kind of like my 5e. I like Pathfinder too. But if I'm playing, and I have my druthers, especially, I'd rather do Pathfinder 2e because to me, it takes it to another level of like I could tweak out my wizard a little, like okay, the familiar can be customized even more, right? Like
Yeah.
but it is that next layer of crunch.
Yeah.
Well
And,
done,
and
John. You're selling them.
yeah, and and the thing is, Dragonbane is really cool. What's killing it is the release schedule. There's not enough product out there right now, and nor is there when you have games like, let's face it, GURPS, uh, Fantasy Flights, Star Wars and all of its iterations, Imperium Maledictum. There's some games out there, GURPS, Pathfinder with a lot of crunch or medium crunch. Dragonbane, while it's great, we're almost out of material. Now it's up to me to start pulling stuff out of the ether to but we're going to play there's 10 adventures in the core box, and we've played through 4, almost 5 of them. So we technically could have some more that don't involve the statue. For those that know, I don't want to
feel
ruin
like I'm interrupting, but I feel like I wouldn't disagree. A couple of the games you named are newer, so they don't have a ton more material. But I mean, GURPS has backstock,
GURPS has 20 years of material.
I kind of wonder, because it came up on your server, the Mr. Mean server, where we talk about all kinds of things. Like, you've turned me into a show. But we were talking about Against the Dark Master, which is another game I love to read. I love the feel of that and the look of that game too. It takes me back to my 80s days reading 80s novels, fantasy novels. But it feels that thematically, the theme and the theme to the starter pack in the back of Against the Dark Master is very similar to the theme in the Dragonbane starter zone of you come in, they both feel kind of rusticy. You start off like starting heroes, and there's a growing evil that's being revealed in the background.
So I definitely get that similarity.
System.
Yeah, and I mean, you couldn't talk two completely different games, right? Dragonbane and Against the Dark Master. Percentile. Well, yeah, but Dragonbane.
If it was 1986, someone would be writing an article about how you just use these two games together, because half of us would have thought well, you're supposed to, because nobody gave us an instruction. You remember back in the day where you'd buy stuff before
Pyramid Magazine was great for that.
What do you mean AD&D and basic D&D aren't the same game? What do you mean that this Dragon Press stuff doesn't work with Dave Hargrave's weird? Sure it does. You just
make it work.
And you had DMs who were good at it, and most who were God, this is going to just ruin everything.
I think that's a lost art, but I do want to give comment here to Dave. He said you should just have them play Project Sunflower. The Dave is the author of Project Sunflower.
Project Sunflower.
And a percentage-based system in a post-apocalyptic world where a virus has gone rampant. Dave, I would totally love them to play Project Sunflower. The problem is they want straight fantasy. They've all agreed that they don't want to deal with technology. They don't want to deal with any kind of sci-fi or horror or anything like that. They want to keep it straight sword and board, sorcery, high fantasy. So GURPS. I was even kind of contemplating. I said, you guys want crunch? Let me break out Mithras. But I think that might be too much.
You gotta honor the player's ask.
Right.
It's good if you can hook them, if you can sell it, great.
Right.
But if they want Star Wars and you make them play Star Trek, that is not going to go well for nobody.
No, and and to be honest, part of my enjoyment as a GM is seeing their faces light up when they get that critical hit or when they take down the big bad dragon. Bah! Dave says if players knew what they want, they'd be a game master. That's a good one, Dave.
Dave, does you know what?
What? Say what, Dragon?
Open up.
That was good, because that's right. If they knew what they wanted to be game masters.
Right, exactly. You're coming in a little muddled.
Feed them what you will.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm coming in what?
You're a little garbled, a little muddled. So in your Discord, if you click on your name, so in the House of Mean, if you right-click on your name, you should have a little audible slider. Super Beast, Nasser, what's up, brother? Wow, super cool.
Where's the Super Beast? He's in the
chat.
I've only got Discord up. Hey, Super man, I miss playing with the Super Beast.
You want to talk about Super Beast is in Bahrain, on the other side of the world, so it's got to be like 2-3 o'clock in the morning there, something like 4 o'clock. So for him to be up chatting with us, he's either getting ready to start his day.
He's calling to complain. He can hear you all the way over there. Keep him down.
Yeah, that's big shout out to Super Beast. Long time no hear, brother. That's my brother from another mother. My first interaction with him, I'm running some game. I don't remember what I was running, but he turns his camera on and he's smoking a cigarette in his apartment or his house, whatever it is, and he's got a wife beater T-shirt on. I'm like, what the hell? You gonna beat somebody up? What do you know? It was awesome, and we were friends ever since. So it's 5:37 a.m. there. Wow, I don't even know what time it is here.
Better?
Yeah, a little bit better there. Yeah.
Okay.
Brian's just super loud, so if he's talking,
there you go.
You're fine. I had to switch back to the headset because I'm trying to use my camera mic, but for some reason it's being finicky.
I don't like 5 a.m. no matter what direction it's coming from. Amen, brother. Amen. So let's see. So we've talked about Dragonbane, and like I said, we're rolling into Pathfinder, and of course, I know Brian knows this, but I don't know if everybody in the channel knows it. But I did pick up the player core. There she is. We can see her. Cool white headset. I picked up the player core and the the core GM. And I guess Player Core 2 is about to come out, or is the Bestiary coming out? Bestiary, however you say it. I don't know.
I think the Bestiary and the screen.
Okay, I really want the new GM screen. I have the old.
I haven't necessarily kept up that way. I'll just
I'm on the subscription program, so I'll get them as they come out, and I'm okay with that because I've really slowed down on a lot of my RPG purchases. Just because buying the house was such a huge hit. But I'm so happy to be in a house and not have neighbors, and it's great. She isn't showing up on the stream. Who isn't? She might have disconnected from YouTube so that she can do Discord, if that's who you're talking about, Dave.
Yeah,
You're fine.
About YouTube.
You're fine, Dragon. We're just going to call you Dragon because saying the Wheeling Dragon, that just hurts me. I'm old.
That's fine by me.
Super Beast says, I can only see Mr. Mean. Well, she just turned her camera on. So it might take you a minute. And you're, Jesus Christ, there, Beast. You're across the ocean. You're like on 2 different continents away. I love picking on Nasser. He's... let's see. So anyway, I got the player's core. Oh, it's not recording my screen? Huh. My second monitor went Tango uniform, so I'm not going to mess with it right now. Only Mr. Mean is showing up on YouTube. It should be recording the screen. Well, everybody can hear everybody. That's the important part.
Yeah.
So, and Dragon, don't feel like you have to stay on the camera if you don't want to. You don't have to. This is more of a test to see if it would work, and it sounds like it's working. So I think I have a hub that is, I don't know. I think maybe it's got a short or something in it. I have to buy a new one. I have too much computer equipment. I'm one of those guys that has more computers than he knows what to do with. But on the gaming front, here's a Dragon. She's, I guess, maybe perhaps after her little, she has to leave us for a little while. She's getting some surgery. But when she comes back, maybe she's going to run some Labyrinth for us.
Yeah.
She's got the book. Look, she's prepared. All right, we're going to play right now. Let's go. GM, go.
Can I show a sneak peek? Mind if I show a sneak peek?
Yeah.
Of the inside?
You sure? It's.
Take a look at that.
That's beautiful. They that company, because I believe they also did the 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 they also did.
You glitched, my friend.
Yeah, that was on you, John.
What happened?
You were just on a loop there.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
that'll
you
happen
loop.
sometimes with the streaming. We're still in like sub-zero temperatures here, so it's negative. I don't even know what it is right now. It was negative 12 today.
Yeek. Is
Yeah,
that with or
it
without the
was
wind
cold.
chill?
That was without the wind chilled. It's negative 10 right now.
Hey, but to answer your question, yes, they did do this bad boy.
I thought so.
Because
I know my games.
it was actually, uh,
Oh, I see what it's
I
doing.
hope I don't make anybody cry with this, but I'm going to kind of tell the story of how I actually found these two games, if that's okay with you.
Sure.
It was right after my husband had passed away, and I had to go to the city for one of my appointments. And my caretaker, because I have an in-home caretaker from when my husband was at work, because I'm disabled, and he took me to a game store that he had visited once before. It first landed my eyes on this beauty, which I wish I wouldn't have misplaced the dust cover. And then I found this right next to it, and I'm like, "Yep, those are mine." Would you believe none of my local friends want to play these?
Oh, you know that's
That's the world of role playing.
yeah. I mean,
But I was just like,
I live in a
"Could you
small town,
imagine
and the only thing it's not a small town. Duluth is a medium-sized city, but the problem is it's a D&D town, and the people that are playing Pathfinder, they're in their own little closed niche, and they don't want anybody. They don't want to let anybody in. So unless you know one of those players and they can introduce you to the group, they don't want to invite new players, and that's fine. But you
yeah,
know, it's frustrating to find new players, and I just got lucky finding these five guys. It was originally three guys, and then they brought two more in because they went back and told their friends, "Wow, we played this game called Dragonbane, and we had such a the guy, Mr. Mean is so nice, and he let us in his house, and da 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 da." And they were like, "Well, we want to play," it's one of those. So it all worked out. I mean,
yeah. Like, actually, take that back. I do have at least two people who want to play, and this is where it's going to get interesting for me because one of them is my best friend, and she's deaf. So I'm having to learn a lot of the signs for this. So I can run it for her after my surgery.
yeah. You know what
Which,
works really good with deaf players is text to speech. So
yeah,
you set up, you can make a loop in your house with your tablet and have it like if you have a like I know the new Pixel tablet does it. And I think the iPads will do it too. Well, they'll convert your. It's almost like you're doing a voicemail. The only problem
yeah,
is you'll have to stop it periodically and clean out because you'll run out of memory because your
oh yeah,
iPad and phone only have so much space. But the point being is it is a way to communicate. Or if you're halfway decent at sign language, you can run a solo game for them, and then they're the focus of attention. And a lot of times that makes them feel very included. You know what I mean? Because
yeah, and
it's
that's what
hard
the
to game in
plan
a
is.
group if nobody speaks sign language and you're signing to the other player all the time. Everybody else is like, what the hell's and it's not that
Yeah,
they're being rude or mean; they just don't understand. So
right. And simultaneous communication is a pain in the rear end in the first place.
yes,
I have to do that
exactly.
for some of my classes.
Yeah. So, but that is a way to
So
work around it, is you can do it.
yeah,
And there's, I mean, you're disabled, so there's a world of technology out there for the handy capable. So you can definitely find, and she may
exactly.
even already have something like that she can use with the group, so she can read what everybody's saying. It just sometimes can get a little, fragmented, but it's worth a shot.
Yeah, yeah. And we're still discussing that. Plus, this is also her way of getting me to practice more.
Well, there you go. I mean, uh, my checkout guy at Costco is deaf, and so I know a little bit of sign, and so I always tell him, thank you and okay, and no, no, sorry,
Yeah.
every yes, so yeah, I mean feeling, when you're disabled like that and being able to communicate with the normal person feels really good. It feels inclusive.
Yeah.
So we're
That's why
definitely,
I got her and just one other because the other person was another student of hers.
yeah.
Because when
So
she was doing finally before the whole 2020 crap.
yeah, COVID. In fact, the Dave is fighting the COVID right now, Mister Project
Oh
Sunflower.
no.
Yeah.
Babe, I hope
So
you feel better
I
soon,
hope he
man.
feels better. Yeah. Let's see. We got 7 people watching. If you're in, I lost the chat for some reason again, and I see what you guys are talking about. I'm looking on YouTube, and it's not showing. It's not showing you guys. So, but I can see the chat.
They, and if anybody's interested, I was going to give a little update on what I found out yesterday. But I don't want to distract from the.
Yeah, the solo RPG guy says he wants to play the gremlins that change the directions of the chalk marks in Labyrinth. I'm like, yeah, that would be kind of fun. That would be neat. That would
Hit me
be,
up on Discord.
yeah, there you go. Solo, hit her up on Discord. Well, when she gets out of her operation and she's back to the world of the living, she's gonna run for the meanies. So we'll get a game going. That should be
Yeah.
fun. We have one of the channels is to find a game, and you can post in there. I think you already did, as a matter of fact.
Yeah, I did.
And you can turn it once. So once you're out of surgery, you can turn that into a thread, so that way people can, they're not filling up that channel. They can go to that thread if they want to read about, Labyrinth. So
Right.
and that's open to all the meanies. If you want to run a game on the channel, we can always create an audio room, a separate audio room. I have one for Covert Ops because the Batman and Stephen O. Can't he me down? I don't know what Cammy is talking about. Cammy, you gotta give us a little. I don't know what you're supposed to go to and why you're excited, but please inform us. Someone keeps spamming the hearts, so thank you, whoever that is.
But on that note, it'll probably be 12 weeks, 10 to 12 weeks after my initial surgery, because I could be in the hospital up to a week and a half to 2, just depending, because the first 4 days is going to really bite because I have to lay flat and can't really do much.
Right.
And then he's talking about putting me in inpatient rehab rather than sending me straight home, since I do live on my own, and oddly enough, I don't qualify for any support.
Oh, geez. Oh, I've been there.
Well, it's because
my son is handicapped, so I trying to get him a parapro right now is ugh.
The only reason I don't qualify for my support is because I'm not on oxygen, according to the state of Kansas.
Oh, geez. So let's see here. Oh, I see why. Because I did Talking Head.
It happens. It happens. But I did just kind of want to get you guys a head up. But if I had the books, I'd play. If I had the books for GURPS, I'd play. Drive through. Okay. I'll do that after all this then. I love text.
I can hear you here. At the law, yeah.
Let me go back to this. And testing. All right, there's. Oh, wireless 2RX. Okay, so let's see. Let's go back here. There we go. Okay, can you guys hear me now? It's because I switched video feeds. So hopefully you can hear me now. Can Discord hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Let's go back to the House of Mean. Yeah. Let's see. Can you guys hear me? Can you hear me now? I feel like a bad Verizon commercial. Can you hear me now? Oh man.
No, they have paid actors and stuff, John.
Ooh, that hurt. That kind of hurt, Brian. I'm not gonna lie.
How could that hurt?
It didn't. Yay, they can hear me. Yay. Okay.
How could that hurt? Right. You have no feelings. You're Mr. Mean. Are you
kidding?
That was us doing a little role play here for everybody of like, show us sad, John. Show us hurt.
I don't know those feelings. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Well, imagine if you had talked about a Verizon commercial.
Yeah, right.
I was kind of getting the hankering, although I don't, just for no reason to play more Alternity, the original, not the. I kind of enjoyed reading and running that system.
Alternity
funky as it was.
Solid. I will say I did like Heroes and Hardships. I liked when you ported it over.
Yeah.
That worked, and I'd be.
Yeah, that was probably better, frankly, but it's a better system, I think, in the end.
I will say
Heroes and Hardships.
For the time, well, it's like anything. It was new and shiny, right? So we enjoyed it because it was the new hotness. It's like on the Mr. Mean Speak channel. It's the game of the week.
Which? The Heroes and Hardships?
No, Alternity when it came out.
Oh yeah. Alternity. That was if you had a hey, we're gonna play the legacy game of the month once a month. We're gonna haul out something 25 years or older. That's kind of what the Alternity thing was for me.
I will say it held up, to be honest. Character creation was a little meh, but the gameplay, the mechanics, they held up. I didn't have a problem with it. It
was a lot less.
I preferred the mechanics of Heroes and Hardship, but I was not dissuaded from playing Alternity. I thought it was a fine mechanic. I like that, getting that step die and kind of improving your character and getting bumping that D4 up to a D6. Oh my god, So yeah, I was impressed with it. I thought it was a good mechanic.
I was, that surprisingly that ran a lot smoother. I was expecting, and I think when I originally read it, back when we originally got it, back in the day, right, the turn of the century. 90. It's a 99, I think. It's like a 1999 came out right before Y2K, which is a problem no youth needs to worry about today. But I think the idea of like, okay, you're going to roll a D20 and then you're going to have to maybe add or subtract another die. Like I think my feeling at the time was, what black sorcery nonsense is this? Like, this is going to break everything. Who's going to, and like, that was like the least difficult part, I think, of the entire system for the players. We're like, okay.
And we only had 2 players, right? It was just me and Cosmic.
It was you and Mark, and then an alternating third, depending on who was able to join us.
Right. Yeah, I enjoyed it. Dragon, we're talking about a game that was either 96 or 99. I don't remember. And I mean, it's basically where 3.0 came from, or it was the work behind the work of them coming out with a new D20 based system. And they had a special Gen Con edition, which I was there that year to get that, so that was pretty cool.
Interestingly enough, the excuse me, the core adventure that I ran with you guys going down to the planet and dealing with the lizardman saurian dudes and the temple, that I pulled. I used the Star Drive kind of setting to like paint the general picture, but the actual adventure I pulled from a collection of adventures for the Day Tripper system, nice. But can be used for anything, which is Todd Foley, who is also the author way back, John, of Cyberspace nice. By Iron Crown Enterprises. He wrote that. And so Day Trippers is a surreal science fiction game, and it's got some conversions for other stuff. But this thing is like a collection of golden age science fiction stories that he's collected and reprinted. So you get the story, and then in the Day Trippers GM style, you get all the resource material to kind of run the classic story as an adventure, and a bunch of different options. And Day Trippers is about going to other planes, including dream planes and all kinds of stuff. So there's all kinds of funky options. Like there's a lot of different ability to shoehorn stuff in. Like, is this another world in your universe? Is this a world in a universe somewhere else? Is this in like some psychobabble ethereal bubble that's going to disintegrate in 2 hours and you better get out of there quick? Yeah. And generally you can only stay in a place for 24 hours at a jump anyway, but that collection is definitely an underheard of, underutilized kind of GM resource. So that was, we played a 1999 game with an adventure based on, I don't know, something out of like the 40s or 50s,
Arthur
I think.
Clarke or something. Yeah. And
that is that era.
Gen Con 1998, by the way. I just looked it up. So we were in between. I was low, you were high, but yeah, 1998 was first published.
1998, okay, close.
1998. Wow, we're old. Well, you're old. I'm forever young, just because me.
That was right before I changed jobs to my second employer.
Yeah,
made the big jump. It
was a big jump.
The big Clorox.
It sounds like a little bit like The Strange too. Dave, he Monty.
Yes. Day Trippers is a
homage almost.
Yeah, Day Trippers is, I believe it's got an open system. He models it somewhat with 2D6, but it's a surreal role-playing game. So the GM book for it talks about techniques and talks about both surrealism and like the point of surrealism and why you might games it. But the big thing that I take away from it is a lot of reincorporation technique.
Is it still available?
Listening to players.
Can you still buy it?
I'm sorry?
Can you still buy it?
Oh yeah, it's Drive-Thru RPG.
Okay, put a link up to it.
Yeah, I'll post a link. Yeah.
Post it
I'll put a link in the Discords.
In the Discords. So let's see what else. What's the new hotness? Have I gotten? I haven't made my pilgrimage to the cities. I forgot I took my microphone off, so if I don't look this way, you guys can't hear me. I did. I got my Kickstarter for Cities Without Numbers. Cities Without Number. That's pretty cool, and I got to play it. David, he's on our Discord. He ran it, and that was a lot of fun. I enjoyed it. It's a very, I don't want to say it's OSR, but it's very similar to D&D, and it's a very light mechanic. It's a lot of D6s basically. So see, there's proof. I don't hate D6s. I just don't prefer to play some D6 based games. And it got me looking at all the talk we had on the channel. I think it was yesterday or today. We were talking about Zweihander and Mr. Daniel Fox.
Yes.
So I was looking at my Blackbirds because I think Blackbirds is a much better book than Zweihander, hands down. I think the art direction and everything is just super cool. Really like it. I think it's very well done.
Flames of Freedom was the one I was reading because I've been a big Richard Iorio
Right.
Colonial Gothic fan. I mean, I ran that for you guys when I came out to, I think it was Arizona. We played some Colonial Gothic
Yeah.
one time at one of those small conventions.
There we go.
And so I was, and then I felt really bad for, for Richard, But anyway,
Yeah, we hashed
you were
that out on
saying.
the server. I was going wonky there on the old. Let's see, what other? Is there anybody in the chat? I said a couple of people have logged off because they said they had to go. Super Beast, if you're still with us, Nasser, any new hot RPGs for you? We've talked about Labyrinth. We've talked about GURPS. We've talked about Dragonbane. And of course, Pathfinder and D&D. There's a little bit of a delay, which is why I'm pausing for the people that are on YouTube.
Your love of GURPS has reminded me that it's relatively recent. It's not brand new, but Girl Genius RPG based on GURPS. It just sounds like a hoot. Sounds like the kind of like steampunk, ridiculous Victorian, pseudo-Victorian nonsense that
top.
players are off. Yeah, and I mean it's all illustrated by the
I've never
Folio.
played
So.
Girl Genius. I had a couple of the comics, back when I was still collecting.
It's only been out for not very long, really. I mean, it's not something it's been rumored for a long time. And I think some of if I'm remembering some of the introduction and comments, and they've been playing it a long time.
But it hasn't been
out. That's it. Yeah, so, the Folios and he came out. It's nicely illustrated. It's GURPS. So it's, if you don't like GURPS, you won't like Girl Genius unless you're willing to overlook it. But which are some people are like.
If you don't like crunchy systems, you're not going to like it, no matter what.
Yeah, but I thought it was a cool though GURPSy source book alone. So that would be a fun one.
I think I'd have to pick that up. I imagine it's available on Warehouse 23, which is,
and via Amazon. I believe it's straight into their GURPS print on demand.
Right, which is always awesome because some people can't get to Warehouse 23, like if you're surfing at work or whatever, because it has games in the meta tag, so it may be blocked. But speaking of other games, Dragon, you're new to role playing, aren't you? You just recently got into it.
No, I actually cut my teeth on D&D 3.5.
Oh, okay. So you've played before.
Yeah, I've played before. I'm new to the GMing side of things.
Ah, well, that makes sense.
I tried running my own little thing because Marvel. I don't know if you guys. No, buddy. Thank you. Sorry, dog's playing. But there's a game that I own a couple of the books for. Marvel Universe.
Yep.
Not the Marvel role play that's out now, but it's an older one. I think it's TSR.
Yep.
Or something like that.
Yeah.
And I was actually kind of using some of it to kind of homebrew my own thing at one point, just to kind of my teeth, so to speak.
Sure.
In a GMing.
Yeah.
And that was pretty fun.
Yeah. GMing's really not that hard. It's just willing to listen. It can be hard. It can be a lot of work, but I think it's rewarding in and of itself. I've found out it's amazing because I've been going to conventions for years. And I mean, Brian as well. And I can tell you, I don't care how good your RPG is, unless it can jump off the shelf and run itself, you need GMs. And it's amazing. There's 100 players to every one GM. My local convention down in Minneapolis right now, Con of the North, it's the largest gaming convention in Minnesota. And I shameless plug, I'll be going there to run Pathfinder games. For them. Yeah, they reached out to me and said, hey, will you run some games? I was like, sure. What do I get out of it? And they're like, well, we'll give you this, this, and this. We get store credit, basically, that we can use on the Paizo site. And I'm like, I already own everything. Why? But I want to get back into doing the convention circuit because I always had a lot of fun.
If you're doing, you know what, I mean, I think you own, I mean, I don't know what you own, deep stock, as you show us in the, as we look at your largesse behind you. But because I'm glancing at one of my bookshelves and I've got like them Pathfinder 2, the battle cards for a couple of the bestiaries, right? Like, yeah, I remember when those first AD&D cards came out, right? Like, and Paizo's got, especially if you're doing the con circuit, like if you're going to be doing in-person games, and you're running Pathfinder or Starfinder, I mean, a wealth of table enhancement stuff like the maps, the battle cards, the all kinds of extra cards like chase cards.
I have a lot of that stuff.
All of it.
But what they just
I said I got
with,
it, Brian. Stop talking.
What they just came out with was an NPC deck of I think it's 112 cards, and you build. It's random, and it can make. It says supposedly you can make.
Oh, you put a couple cards together.
Yeah,
I've got that one. I've got it
down, and it makes
worth it. Well worth it.
Yeah, and I don't have that, so I think I'm going to use my credit to pick that up.
That is worth it. I've got that. I think I've got that tucked in my Absalon box.
One of the nice things that Paizo does when you run conventions for them or you run games for them in some sort of official capacity, they give you all the material for free. So they give you the adventure, they give you all the supporting documentation, just like if you were to buy one of their Pathfinder series. I forgot what they call them. They're like 6 books, Adventure Path. Yeah, Adventure Path. They give you like the Adventure Path, and so you get that usually as a PDF. I don't think they actually print it, but still a PDF is better than a sharp stick in the eye. But yeah, yeah, it depends. Some people like that. I don't know, but yeah. So I'm going to be running. I think I'm running 3 or 4 sessions. Like Friday, I get into town Thursday night. Friday morning, I'm running like an intro to Pathfinder for people that have never played. And then I think Friday night, I'm running another, like an adventure, for like 1st to 3rd level characters. And then Saturday, I'm running another intro to Pathfinder. And then I think I'm free all day Saturday. And then Sunday morning, I'm running something. TTBS is in the chat. Hey, you brought donuts. Sweet. I love donuts.
You should adapt some material from Savage Worlds Pathfinder so that you can run Pathfinder, Savage Worlds Pathfinder 2E.
Funny enough, they are supporting Savage Pathfinder in the Paizo.
Nice.
Yeah, and I was at
another set with great swag for the table.
Yeah, Pathfinder, Savage Worlds does a great job. I'll tell you, the 3 biggest ones that I think that are really awesome for convention support is Green Ronin, Paizo.
Love my Green Ronin, people.
Green Ronin's awesome. And then
Savage Worlds is where you were going.
Pinnacle, and then Dungeon Crawl Classic, Goodman Games.
Oh yeah. Goodman Games.
Yeah, if you're a member of the band, Goodman Games really they really support their GMs. So yeah, I'm a big fan. I don't know why did I do something? And then there's some camera.
Somebody. Yeah, who knows?
Gang looks like there. I just had a thumbs up come up. I don't know. Maybe somebody thumbs up the thing or something. I don't know. I'm crazy that way. I don't know.
I was running before, up until COVID ended it. I'd been running for 3 years, actually, I think. East Texas University. I mean, it was getting to a point where, like, it's literally going to take you as many years to get through this campaign as to get through college.
Right.
Right. So, but it was a monthly East Texas. And for those who don't know, it's one of the properties for Savage Worlds. It's one of the slightly older sets. But it emulates, you play students going to college at this weird college in nowhere, Texas, Pine Box, Texas. And you start as freshmen and you graduate as seniors, and you're basically doing the Buffy, Scooby thing of fighting supernatural evil on and around campus while simultaneously having to actually deal with taking exams. Like there's mechanics for each quarter, like what activities were you doing?
Yeah, you have to
How well
test
did
out.
you how well do you do? And so you're rolling. So literally you can, you could have start failing and stuff. And we had a couple players who rotated through. It was a wild, fun game that I occasionally felt was like, am I running this in a public space? Nobody ever complained. I mean, it was hugely diverse, very strange. It was this like mashup because I went to college and in the let's call it the early '90s, and so I'm using a lot, and college has changed since then, right? But certain tropes nonetheless remain, and it was a lot of fun. It's a very well to the point. It's a very well supported. I got like the deluxe box that I picked up one day down at I think Game Castle locally, and other than your core rule book, like you've got, I got maps, I've got my adventure book, I've got additional resource material, I got like themed tokens I can give to players. So like unpacking it and like getting it all out was always kind of fun. I think for the first couple adventures, I made up actual student IDs that I gave to the players, and I walked in. I think I put on a collared shirt, a V-neck sweater, and I had a lanyard with my own little ID of like dean of student admissions.
Change your
And
lanyard, right? Teacher or
and it was a lot. Yeah,
professor,
it
Isaac
was a lot
Butler.
of fun,
Yeah.
especially with reincorporation. Because if I'm running for. I mean, everybody who I was running for had already been through college age, right? Some were closer to my age, but so everybody was able to like. It was
Relate.
fun to bring in all kinds of stuff. Like I had one thing where people were like, "How that professor of like non-Euclidean geometry, like how did you come up with that guy and the way he was shaking the books at us?" And I was like, well, that I'll admit was an experience that I lived through in college. I just brought that guy to life because I've always remembered
That's
him
what we
so
do. We
with his
draw. We
whisk.
draw from the. One of the guys in. I was at the con 3 years, right before COVID. I went to one of the cons in Wisconsin and in Madison, and he was running ETU. And at the end of the adventure, and he's fast paced, and they were seniors. They were about to graduate, so they had all the pressure of graduation, working on their thesis and doing everything. He actually printed up diplomas and had these fake diplomas that said
Yeah, I was working
ETU.
towards that, man.
And I
It's
thought that was so cool because he gave them all a diploma when they graduated, and then
and so much.
one of the player characters died though in the adventure, and in Savage Worlds that's pretty hard to do, but he actually died, and they gave him the diploma posthumously, so he still got a diploma
Oh,
even though he was
nice.
playing a secondary character, an NPC basically.
Uh,
So it was a lot of fun.
I will say it played fantastically well at the table. We got in like almost a couple investigations a night. Um, but towards the point of we were talking earlier, like jumping into being a GM as well as like the con stuff, like they can be a little pricey, but those Savage Worlds, I find like those Savage Worlds deluxe box sets.
Bang for the
Savage Worlds
buck.
takes care of you in general, but like they pack those boxes. You are set with like I was set up with all the NPCs. I was set up with so much additional material to support me as a GM. Even now, after 3 years, like I look back and I feel like I just scratched the surface of like the campus and the surrounding town. Like they felt it was so rich. I'm like, hey, what did I use? 10%, 15% of that material? And those sets, including the Savage, Savage Pathfinder, I think are really well equipped to like set somebody up with a good
A good
play group up
campaign.
with a
Yeah.
great experience.
Yeah, the Savage Pathfinder box. I should be expecting my other. I think there's another thing I've got. I've also got the 20th anniversary for Savage Worlds coming. The box set. I ordered the the big box set through Kickstarter, and I think my Necessary Evil is about to ship. So I did.
Maybe that's what, I mean, nothing against Dark Master, but maybe I should be haranguing the Discord about, like, hey, who wants to play some Savage Worlds Rise of the Rune Lords? Hey, who wants to play some Savage Worlds Crimson Throne? Let's go.
Yeah, I think Savage.
That could go fun for a long time, right? You want to play the same character for 20 levels? Let's go.
So I gotta give a shout out to TTBS, because he said he was talking about the graduation. We were talking about the graduation of the ETU characters, and he says, and it would be great. He says, and at the end of the campaign, they are approached by a man in a suit and aviator sunglasses who says, "I represent Delta Green, and I'd like to speak to you about an exciting career opportunity." Would that not be so cool when you finish?
We were starting to chat about that. It's like, well, so they've since come out with an additional supplement they've come out with a supplement near and dear to my heart, because it's a small supplement for it, but it's the ETU study abroad. I studied overseas for a while in college, so like that's a whole nother experience that you could bring to players. But like, yeah, like you could graduate. Let's just shift this. Like, do you guys just go into supernatural investigations? Do you become MIBs? Do you and are you just Buffy full time now?
I think what's cool there too is, remember, we were talking about when we were playing Alternity, and we were talking about Urban Arcana. Remember, we were playing Everyday Heroes.
Yep.
And we were talking about my big thing that I love about Urban Arcana was the Urban Arcana setting. And it just now dawned on me, my God, you could do that so easily
with Savage Worlds.
With Savage Worlds and ETU, and just, okay, you graduate and now you're out, and a guy in a cheap suit and sunglasses, I'd like to talk to you about your future.
You want to know what's really going on?
Yeah. Now that you've had a taste of the weird, Conspiracy X is another one. You could totally... Conspiracy X, which is a very underrated game by George Valikos, is a fantastic game. If nobody's ever checked it, it's actually free on DriveThru RPG. And a shameless plug, use my affiliate link in the show notes on any of my videos, and you can go download it for free. Just use my link because I get credit.
Speaking of Everyday Heroes, by the way, buddy, so I've been reading the earlier King Kong Adventure supplement, the early release. They're going to still do a fatter book. What I didn't realize, because I only got it recently and I started reading it, in part because I started watching Monarch: Legacy of Monsters on Apple. And, it's got Kurt Russell, so come on, people, right? Like, and his son is in it too, playing the same character at a younger age, does a great job. But not, that's another great, it's like adjacent, but there's a great, kind of riff there if you want to do like Project Mythic, bring in kaiju, but also there's other organizations. So if you want to do more near future, MIBs fighting each other, and so once you do that, like, of course there's going to be vampires and zombies involved and mages, right? But it's definitely like you can cash in on some of that current cachet that it's got.
Is there anybody in the chat there in the old YouTubes got any questions or any comments? I don't want to dominate the whole thing with me and Brian just babbling.
Because I do that.
Well, that's what we do. We're good at it. TTBS, Hellboy, and Monster of the Week. Universal systems are the best. Yeah, I'll agree with you, TTBS. I did not, and I kicked myself. GURPS did Hellboy, and I didn't get a copy of it. And I don't, maybe it's available still. I don't know. And of course, I got spoiled. A friend of mine in Tucson, when I lived in Phoenix, but I'd go up to Tucson to hang out with some friends on the weekends. And we do a convention called RenCon. I think, Brian, you went to it with me one time. There was a guy there that ran, it's not Monster of the Week, but it was the same concept with it wasn't powered by the apocalypse. And he ran this Monster of the Week game. It was like Monster High. You were like high school kids and as you were hitting puberty and everything, your inner monster came out. And it was pretty cool. And I don't know if he ever got published or anything, but he was trying to, and this is back in the early, I don't even know how long ago I lived in Phoenix, but it was early 2000s. So yeah, but Hellboy is one that I didn't learn about Hellboy until years later. And I hate to say it, but when Ron Perlman did the movies, that's when I became a Hellboy fan. And I really wish I would have found it a lot sooner, because the art in the comic book, Mike Magnolia's art didn't grab me, and I was very much a visual reader back then. And so if the art didn't grab me, didn't matter how good the story was, I wasn't going to stick with it. And so I never picked it up because it used all of Mike's art. And now I kind of do like,
because it's his property, it's
right,
his idea,
it's his
right?
IP, yeah. And
yeah, now you've come around. Your tastes have changed. Interestingly enough, Mike Mignola was did illustrations for Chaosium. You can find some of his illustrations in like early Different Worlds magazine. So was at least I don't know if he gamed Hellboy. Obviously, since he licensed it to GURPS and others since, right? Like he's clearly aware of gaming, but I think he was pretty close to gaming.
Yeah,
when he was getting going with Hellboy.
I've heard the rumor in other forums that he's a big board game fan, and there was a Hellboy game board game. Words, they're hard, and he had a big hand in that. So, and I think the next progression, after a good board game, is go into, and then of course they did it with GURPS, which of course would be super easy to do. TTBS says that he doesn't have either one of those yet. Project Sunflower, Dave. Well, I think what you need to do is create your own OGL for Project Sunflower, and I know we've talked about that. And you need to.
I got to get a print copy of that.
Well, it's not out yet. You can't.
Oh, right. I can't.
Yeah,
but I got
There's a select few of us who have a copy.
Where's my print copy, Dave?
Yeah, he hasn't even done.
I can't run a game without a print copy.
Yeah, Dave. I can't run the game if I don't have a print copy, Dave. Yeah, Dave.
I was told there would be cake. Sunflower cake.
Insert the GIF of John Travolta.
I'm never. He's gonna lock me on the drive-through. Hey, how come I can't read my PDF anymore? Hey,
it doesn't work.
They won't let me buy it. Not for any money, Brian. You can't buy my game. I'm getting an injunction against you running it too.
TTB
Man would be wise.
He plans on running it with GURPS or Savage Worlds. I think Savage Worlds would do very good justice to Hellboy, but I'm a purist at heart on certain things, and I think Hellboy was made for GURPS, so I would run it in GURPS. That would be my.
I think I could be wrong. I feel that out of the box, especially for a newer GM, Savage Worlds is going to give you, I think, a more cinematic, heroic experience. GURPS is going to give you a more detailed character dossier experience, but a little less actiony, maybe out of the gate. I could be wrong, but right, GURPS is going to generate often a more detailed character. Like you get more skill picks, you can tweak them a little bit more.
Yeah, I agree. Savage Worlds is definitely easier, but I think with
I pictured the cartoon. Do you remember the old Space Gamer? The cartoon style that they had in the space. I pictured like a bearded Steve Jackson throttling you with both. Easier than GURPS. What's tough about 3D6?
Yeah, it's a bell curve. That's nerd humor there, boy. Dice probability. You only got 3D6.
How could it be any simpler? I haven't changed the introduction in 40 years, you bastard.
Yeah, I can see Steve having a heart attack. Yeah.
Him and Phil Reed going to come to your doorstep in like parkas with axes and bats. Show you what's up.
So TTBS disagrees with me, and he thinks Hellboy would be better with Savage Worlds. I can see either one, but like I said, I'm a purist. I would probably stick with
better's tough. I mean, all kidding aside, I got to stay. Things can deliver a more more tuned for an experience, but
yeah.
They all work for somebody.
right. And
Different
again, I
strokes.
said this in the beginning of the broadcast. I don't care how good your game is; it can't jump off the shelf and run itself. So you got,
Right.
It just sort of falls flat. But a bump.
yeah, literally. What are you just gonna lay there?
You can see why I went into a career in comedy.
Yeah, exactly.
And actually, when you mentioned the Hellboy, I actually was looking, and I think I might have found what you were talking about, but I'm not sure. Where do you want me to post that, or do you just want me to send that to you in a DM to see if that's what you were talking about? It says it's
Either
like
or,
25
whatever.
bucks.
You can post it in the main. Let's talk
Put
about
us
it.
in the main Discord.
Yeah.
The other thing John knew that is still going on. I am loving Star Trek Adventures.
Oh yeah.
It has some great resourcing too. The Jim Johnson, the project manager, and Michael Diasuke. I'm going to slaughter their names just like they slaughter all their guest names and apologize for it. They run a podcast, or they do a regular podcast where they talk about all kinds of stuff. It's always Trek slanted, right? They're focused on their audience, but there's a lot of interesting takeaways, right? So they talked about threat, and use of threat in Modiphius 2D6 for Star Trek. They get writers from who are writing the current Star Trek comics on to talk gaming. They have the person who is in charge of actual Star Trek, current shows science,
wow.
checking all their science. So as a GM, I'm just finding out about this. Michael also has a website, Continuing Adventures, so it's very well resourced. But that game is just delivering. It's making me and my players so happy right now. It's really working well. And we had our first episode, so we had our 20th session last week. First time, because we've been doing a real slow build. I've been doing a real slow build on the rules. They just got into Starship Combat, man. Nice. And man, they've already suffered multiple minor hull breaches. The ship that they're fighting is an enemy ship and it's outpowering them. So now they're trying to get away to a nebula to see if they can tactically figure out a way to get the jump on them. Communications are being jammed. And it's funny because some of the scenes, and they've noted this, some of the scenes you're trying to solve something. Well, they get, two people assist one guy along with the ship or something. These guys blow through problems pretty quick. As a GM, I start hoping for complications. Starship Combat, suddenly, everybody's got completely different roles to do, and they all need to do 3 things at once. But each of those are a major action, guys. And it's oh my god!
Prioritize.
So apparently the riff that Mark Cosmic Flux is pointing out is that I have to go back and see, but in all the Star Trek Adventures live actual plays, things go from everybody's super competent and blowing through stuff and personal, and then you hit ship combat and all of a sudden all these ships just start going down.
Yeah.
And these guys now are remembering they asked for a 1 nacelle, little scrappy, little early ship. They don't even have 2 nacelles on their cruiser, man.
Be careful what you ask for. You just might get it. Yeah.
But another, I'd throw that in as another game. It's more recent, and you get the benefit. Same thing as Star Wars. If your players are into that setting, you get huge buy-in, and it's as a science fiction game. Everybody knows what a knight looked like, or you can find you start getting into science fiction, and okay, it's a cargo hold. Everybody's picturing a different thing. I say, picture, a next gen cargo hold. You're all picturing the same things if you're Star Trek fans.
Right. Yeah.
I'll stop with the Star Trek now.
I will say, I'm a big fan of pretty much all of the 2D20 games. Fajuk was asking earlier, what is the 2D20 system? And I casually pointed him to in the archive, in my videos, I do a 2D20 breakdown of like the different games that were out at the time. Now, of course, they've come out
Oh,
with
nice.
Dune and Dishonored, and a couple other games that weren't out back then. But back then, it was Mutant Chronicles, Conan, and Star Trek were the big ones. Infinity, I don't even think was even out yet. It was a Kickstarter, and the books hadn't come out yet. So, but I will say I have all the iterations of Star Trek. And I gotta say, the 2D20 version is my favorite because it really gives you that feel of being in Star Trek, And while I'm a Star Wars kid, I mean, I was one of the first kids in Brooklyn, standing in front of the movie theater, ready to get in when it came out. The problem with Star Wars is it was a movie. Star Trek was a TV series. Every week you got new Star Trek, and then later.
Yeah, there's so much content
right,
now to
and
pull
then
on.
later
There's so
years,
much.
We got the Next Generation, and then we got Voyager, and then we got DS9. So if you think about the amount of material that's out there for Star Trek, it far exceeds Star
You know
Wars.
what? I'm gonna circle back to the new GM thing and getting groups, and so I'm gonna throw Star Trek in that again because there are lower cost. They've got a starter set, right?
Yeah.
So they've got starter sets to get you set up with an adventure and stuff. So that's always enough. But
was there a Star Trek starter box? I don't think there was.
Oh yeah, I've got it. There was a large size one, and there was a 2D20. I've got it. It was next gen themed. They did a smaller tricorder. It's actually a cosplay tricorder, original series. I got that one as well.
Batman,
so I can
Batman
and that one's themed. That one's themed for original series, and the big thing for that one is it's black text on white pages, so it's easier for me to read.
Right. Yeah.
But it's well resourced, so you can get a starter set to get going. But again, assuming that you're playing with all folks who are familiar with or into Trek, right? Like everybody kind of gets the stuff, so people have absorbed a lot more Trek than you give yourself credit for.
Yeah.
Everything from technobabble, and so the other thing that I like about it, thinking about it as a starter set for people, an intro is it's kind of like Lone Wolf with the Kai Lords, or Star Wars if you're playing. Supposedly, if you're playing Jedi, but then you'll get everybody's opinion on what the Jedi really mean. Is people you're playing a Starfleet officer is the default, right? So you can always do Klingons or stuff, and there's expectations of Starfleet officers, and people know what's expected of Starfleet officers. And I think Michael and Jim were saying on their recent show, when you let your players play their characters, let them be Starfleet officers. They know what to do. And one of the things that I'm most proud of is how well my players are playing Starfleet officers with ethics and debating the Prime Directive. And then I had an alien take over, and he wanted weapons to deal with a prior enemy they'd met, and they revolted, they figured which they were supposed to, but and so that's another thing where it's a positive vibe. There's not going to be, there shouldn't be murder hoboing going on, right?
Well,
you can introduce strong. Well, yeah, I mean, but if you are, then that's hey, we want to play Klingons where you're going to try to assassinate one another, right? But if you're playing a Starfleet experience, right, you can bring in NPCs to sit, but players know, and so I think it's the players are more comfortable contributing.
The contract in Star Trek far outsees anything that Star Wars could ever do, because we all have a different interpretation of what a Jedi is, but everybody knows what the Federation is. Seek out new worlds, seek out new life,
Well, there's also that thing where the Jedi weren't necessarily you look at the Jedi Council and kind of they're not necessarily good, right? It's a different kind of. Whereas Starfleet, you could call them colonists and stuff, but they're trying to be good, right? And I think as time has passed, they've gotten cleaner about some of that.
Yeah.
Or you get to discuss some of the challenges. Like, we want to do this, but, well, are you going to tell them what to do? Oh gosh.
Yeah. Prime directive.
So it's been really fun. And I find that that's the player comfort level. For me, it's getting players to contribute, but they understand the technobabble. Mark is plays in it as an engineer. He's very, it's fun to toss them stuff.
Yeah.
And hear what they come up with. And it's got a nice system for solving problems where, you make them come up with and roll for like hypotheses. And oh, by the way, you can pick any of those hypotheses to be the real the real problem, right? Like so it's okay to create problems without solutions in Star Trek as a GM, because it enables the players to come up with the solutions. And then you just kind of do I bless this solution. Yeah, that sounds right. You guys are totally right about the magnetic resonance over the planet. Totally.
The TTBS says that Mr. Welch just did a compare and contrast between FOSSA, the original guys who did the Star Trek role-playing game, and then Modiphius' Star Trek, and he says that's why I was late. So yeah, TTVS might be a Trekkie. I'm just guessing. And then the Dave says everyone knows the Ferengi rules of acquisition. Yes.
So here's a Ferengi. I was thinking, John, because I got to get that Klingon book. A different type of Star Trek campaign might be like, glory to you and your house, right? So it's fun to talk about Klingons assassinating the guy above them because he's no longer competent. But what if you pull a page from Dune, right? You're all members of the same house. And what if we start Discovery Era? Like, what if we start and you now we do the thing we wanted to do with L5R back in the day, John. Okay, you're now going to play the next generation of your house.
Yeah.
And now our next generation of your house, right? Glory to your house and you is what we should say.
Yeah. Right. All right. Well, we've been on here for 2 hours.
Hey, I gotta get dinner, man. What are you're wearing me out.
Dinner. I got to go to bed. 5 o'clock comes early in the morning, and my wife just put my little guy to bed, so it's ours. But Dragon, I want to thank you for popping on and helping us and talk about Labyrinth and everything. Bri, a pleasure as always.
Yeah, I'd say it was nice chatting with you, but I think I rolled over you there, Beth. But it was nice. It was nice to meet you.
Your excitement is enthusiastic, and I appreciate everybody in the YouTube chat. Thank you so much. If you couldn't hang out and chat with us, this will be on YouTube pretty much as soon as I hang up, and you'll be able to post comments down in the doobly-doo. So as always, thanks everybody. I appreciate it. I'm going to sign off as always. Peace and hair grease. And as Mr. Mean says, be nice.
But you said don't.